Welcome to My Personal Opinion. My name is JM, and well, these are my opinions. I want to talk about week 4 of my TMS, Transcranial Magnetic Stimulation. Remember, I'm not a doctor. This is just my experiences, and if you need assistance or want to look more into TMS or see if TMS is right for you, that's definitely something you need to talk about with your medical professionals. I will say that if you check this out, this is the playlist for my other TMS episodes. So starting from the beginning and going through the weeks going forward. Again, this is week 4, and it's also post-ketamine. So I had ketamine treatment, and then they did some adjustments. They changed the targets a bit. They went from a mid-50s target to 63 as an adjustment or remapping after my brain was kind of dosed with a little bit of ketamine. Changes, not a lot of changes mentally. I don't feel that much better, to be frank. I have been told that the fact that I see some kind of dips in my moods during the weekend is telling them that it may be working. Not a really great amount of feedback for me. Again, as a IT professional, technologist, and somebody with OCD, I really would love more constructive feedback, but I guess it's positive. Going into a 3-day weekend with the Juneteenth day off for the clinic is going to kind of make things stretch again. A little concerned about that, but it is what it is. This is... I know this is a long experience. This is 36 treatments. And I kind of just wished by now I would have saw something more exciting, something more tangible, something I can grab onto. But it's still just this kind of thing that I'm doing. And I'm not going to lie, it's getting a little tedious. Doing this, every weekday is kind of getting long in the tooth, but I'm still sticking to it because I don't want to look back at this and say, well, you didn't give it the full try. So I'm going to keep moving forward. I will say with the new target of 63, we got close to 63 and it did start to hurt. I mean, it started to get to a point where that little woodpecker in the side of my tempo was getting, my temple was getting really bad. It was sore. It was frustrating. It was painful. I could feel it in my teeth. So they backed off, and they backed down to 58, and I could handle it again. Things started to feel okay. But that got a little unnerving for me because it was like, oh, wow, now we're starting to hit areas that really do affect me. I don't know if again, they seem to feel that the ketamine required a readjustment from the 56 to the 63. When they did the remapping, it apparently took more energy to really get an effect out of my hand. But I'm still getting, when they're full-blown firing off these pulses, my hands are still twitching significantly more on my right hand than my left, but it's pretty unnerving. What's interesting is usually on the beginning of the week, it will be a little more agitating than as I progress. So there seems to be some, getting used to it that is happening, but I don't know. I don't have a lot of really structured emotions on this right now because it doesn't seem as consistent as I'd like. I'm not seeing just this wow moment where I'm like, oh man, this is so much better. And when we start getting up into areas where it's starting to be painful, you do kind of have kind of this moment where you're questioning. It's like, if I pull back, if I tell them I can't handle this, and they pull too far back, will that be what puts me in that 30% fail rate, or 20 to 30% fail rate? There's this balance that you want to try to maintain of, yeah, you don't want it to be painful, but also you don't want to hold back the experience. You don't want to stunt the experience. So I'm really in a conundrum with my OCD worries of, how do I avoid not being in that 70 to 80% success rate? How do I avoid falling into that 20% to 30% fail? And is it somebody who was, started to feel the pain, started to say, oh, we got to pull back, and it just wasn't enough to get to those targets. So I really want to get to the target, but it is getting painful enough when we get too close to those targets that it is miserable. We're getting close back up, so they brought it down, bring it a little bit back up. I am technically into week 5. I'm reporting on week 4. I was a little slow on that. There's a reason, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But, I'm really in this balance that I'm not quite sure how to approach it. So, again, from an OCD perspective, there's just these worries that hit me as, am I going to give it enough time? Am I going to stunt it if I go in and say this is becoming too painful? But at the same time, you don't want to be miserable with this. You don't want to go, well, I got to stop, because it just so much going through my head. So right now, I think we're at about 60, and we're going to finish week 5 at 60%, though we may try to get back up to 63 to see if maybe I do adjust. Because I'm seeing many moments where it's painful, and then even during a session, it can start out sore, and then it pulled back until it stops being sore. Now, that's my experience, and I know not everybody experiences that way, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, but certainly if, you're struggling with this kind of moment where you're sitting there going, it's starting to feel a little painful, I don't know what to do, I'm there with you. I understand it. I understand concerns, but you have to do what's best for you. You really do have to make those decisions between you and your provider. But for me, that dance back and forth, back and forth, back and forth is really challenging. One of the reasons I was slower to produce this particular video is I learned something that I'm not very excited about, a little disappointed in. I'm working through a company that is helping me advertise my videos. I'd love to expand this out as much as possible. I really genuinely feel that normalizing mental health and normalizing some of these more interesting techniques, whether it's ketamine, whether it's TMS, whether it's any of these particular areas, I think it needs to be a broader conversation. I don't think it's something that should be not talked about. I think that a lot of the issues we sometimes see in society, and I'm not going to name them all, but some of the bigger concerns of what's going on in today's age about people, how they treat each other, and people, how they respond to when they don't like something, I think a lot of it can be attributed to a growing problem of not addressing mental health. I think that's a real key issue. And my video, besides going to hopefully be fun as well as informative, I'm going to do reviews. I'm going to do more technical commentary. A lot of it, again, with kind of that key issue of how do I look at it from OCD perspective. I have a product that I'm going to review tomorrow, and I'm going to hit the little details that bug me. At the end of the day, I want to get this as broad as possible. And I found out that all of my TMS and my ketamine videos are not allowed to be advertised. Google Ads has deemed them medically sensitive. I've talked to a lot of folks, including therapists and medical doctors, who all have even watched my video and have said, you're not pushing this as like you're a medical professional. You're not enforcing anything, and nothing that you're presenting is illegal. Yes, ketamine has been used as a street drug, and I don't know if that's part of it, but I mean, I'm doing it not only legitimately, I am promoting, using these in a clinical setting. So I was really kind of frustrated and disappointed with the fact that uh, Google has turned around and blocked the ability to advertise. They haven't shut down the videos on YouTube, but they blocked the ability to advertise my videos and get views on them and get more of an audience on all of those particular, and probably this one as well. And so with the service I'm using, I add the video and I say I'd like to advertise this out to get more viewers on it. It goes through an automated process. The automated process on every single of the TMS and ketamine videos has been blocked. And then the group I'm using appeals. And even when a human supposedly reviews it, at one point, even one of the videos was actually passed, and then they pulled it back again. So I don't know what's going on, and certainly this is disheartening. I'm not going to stop, and I'm going to do more of my review videos and some more conversations about OCD and kind of technology, the AI commentary, and those seem to pass. So if you're one of those that saw an advertisement for one of my own other videos, um, I don't know. It's hard. It is the type of thing that could easily get you frustrated. But I'm going to use that and kind of block it from triggering my OCD to say maybe I shouldn't do this, because then I think I'm letting my OCD win, the little OCD monster I have. So, I hate to ask, but if you like this stuff and you have some friends that would love this stuff, or somebody, if you can share this and help spread this. It looks like the mental health side may have to be more natural than using any kind of advertising sources. And I'll still try to advertise some of the more non-sensitive stuff, but the sensitive stuff is where I really think is going to be important. And I'd like to see more stuff talked about, more treatment options and more ideas. I mean, MDMA is something that I was shocked that, because that's like Molly and ecstasy, that is actually going to be clinically tried and may become FDA approved soon. And so that's the thing, is if I say, hey, MDMA, let's talk about it, is that immediately going to be deemed sensitive? I don't know. I'm not a big fan of controlling that kind of stuff, especially if I'm taking the responsibility to tell everybody, look, I'm not doing this in a illegal or illicit manner. I am a big fan of doing this through a clinical system to have the right safety mechanisms in place. I really believe, for example, psilocybin, which has some really promising effects. Even though I have opinions about controlling what's literally a mushroom being pulled out of the ground, I still am very much into talking about safety measures and safety protocols. And especially for somebody who has mental health issues, I think it's a lot better for them to be monitored by a specialist. So I don't know what I'm doing that promotes anything negative, but like I said, that's one of the things that's really been a little upsetting and a little frustrating, and I had to talk myself through it and say, no, don't let this goofiness shut it down. A lot I want to do, a lot I want to talk about. There are areas that I'm going to focus on that do pass these checks and balances, but again, the liking, the commenting, the subscribing, I'm attaching hashtags that, hopefully will get some people to come watch this. But, looking at myself and looking at the way that I couldn't find a lot of videos that helped me prepare for what possibly could happen with TMS. I want to see more videos with others that are talking about their experiences. And this kind of, we're going to mark it as like taboo or medically sensitive, I think is really disappointing. And I would love for YouTube or Google Ads to rethink it. I'd love to have a dialogue with them and say, what can I do better? But this kind of AI, closed loop, just denial, I don't think is helpful. I think it really would be better if somebody like me could have a chat and say, hey, why is this medically sensitive? Is there a way that I can promote this material that I think is important, and then follow within the guidelines of whatever you're deeming as a problem? So like, comment, subscribe, give feedback, share. Let's spread this channel, because my idea is, while I may be focused on OCD, I even want to work with others to bring in others to talk about other situations. I do have a little ADD. I'd love to talk more about ADD. I'd love to talk about the Adderall problem. I'd love to talk about, and then, of course, as a technologist, I'd love to talk a lot about the technology focuses and solutions. So it's not all just ketamine and talk. It's also, I have tinnitus, or tinnitus, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And there's a really interesting device I've been using that actually is a technology focus on trying to help your brain decipher the difference between a tinnitus ring and genuine sound, and it's supposed to help in those areas. I've been using that for a couple months now, and I'd love to talk about that. So there's a lot here, a lot I'd like to do to expand this video, or expand this channel, and any help I can get, I would greatly appreciate it. Yeah, I would like to monetize these videos at some point, because I'd love to get an editor to make these videos better. I'd love to improve lighting, or improve the video, get to 4K, or whatever as options are available. And so there's a lot of great stuff I want to do, a lot of great things I'm targeting, but this was a bit of a setback. And any advice, even if somebody wants to give advice and say, hey, JM, do this better, and you'll probably get through some of those requirements. So that's where I'm at right now. I will continue to do the TMS videos. I will try to my best to let people know what we can do to build this channel, and get to more people, and discuss more issues and concepts and concerns. And I really think this is an important topic, and and it's from multiple perspectives. I myself, as well as others, have even been discriminated against because of some of our, as they like to call it, neurodiversity. And I'd like to, expand into a point of letting managers, talking with managers, and communicating with folks on how we can treat neurodiverse employees better. So, I can go on and on. There's a lot of stuff I'd like to talk about, but that's kind of some of the stuff I've ran into, and some of the stuff I'm working with, and some of the thoughts that are happening. And working on not saying as much. So that's where I'm at. Again, for I don't want to push it too much, but like, comment, subscribe. I do have a Patreon if you want to help support the channel to build and grow from there. Lots of stuff to think about, lots of stuff to do, lots of stuff to improve on, lots of stuff to have fun with. And as I slowly get more comfortable, my dry sense of humor may come out. Oh, and I do want to bring up, I am doing shorts. And the reason for the shorts is I'm highlighting little things about me. Like I did a short with our ferrets. We have 2 ferrets. My favorite movie I just happened to throw out there is I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan, the 1984 and the 1990. Anyway, I'm gonna mess up if I get too many of them. But and even the recent Afterlife. I love those movies. Some of my favorite stuff. I have a lot of other. I am Gen X, so Goonies and Indiana Jones, and I mean so much out there I love. But hitting these little things, maybe even talking about some of the stuff that's behind me, are just ways for you to get to know me, and get to know where my information comes from. That's where the tech side, there is a tech video that I did to kind of give you a tech background. I'll put that up here too. And it will just, so you know where my technical background is, and how I built up my technical knowledge. That's a lot. I hope that was interesting, informative, and definitely please feedback, talk. I need more people talking. I love that I have views, but I'd like to see some people chatting and talking. Oh, One last thing, I am doing a live on Friday. If you go to the live part of my channel, you'll see that there's a live coming up at, I think, 6 o'clock my time, which is Mountain. It's just about OCD, general talk about OCD. I actually promoted a bit on LinkedIn so that I could get professionals on there. I'd love to see managers and folks that want to actually talk about what are ways that you can actually interact with somebody with OCD as an employee. Lots of stuff. So if you can check that out, that'd be great. It's my first live. Even if one person shows up, I'll still get the experience of doing a live on YouTube. I believe I have the software all set up and all the parts set up, and hopefully that goes well. Well, that is my personal opinion. Hopefully you have enjoyed it. Oh, I'm going to hit on why I call it my personal opinion and why I'm even just using JM as my name. I'm going to hit those next. It's actually going to be part of a kind of a trailer for the channel. So there's a very, very personal reason why this is called my personal opinion. Really a thing. So I'm going to cover that soon. Wish everybody the best. Have fun. Enjoy life. Have a big smile, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you, and have a great day.